Hello everybody. Today we are going to be reading Matthew chapter 17. This video is spiritually led. And take a look at this. Look, it's stylish. Matthew chapter 17. The Transfiguration. 6 days later, Jesus took Peter and the two brothers, James and John, and led them up a high mountain to be alone. As the men watched, Jesus' appearance was transformed, so that his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as light. Suddenly Moses and Elijah appeared and began talking with Jesus. Peter exclaimed, "Lord, it's wonderful for us to be here. If you want, I'll make 3 shelters as memorials. One for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." But even as he spoke, a bright cloud overshadowed them. And a voice from the cloud said, "This is my dearly beloved Son, who brings me great joy. Listen to him." The disciples were terrified and fell face down on the ground. Then Jesus came over and touched them. "Get up," he said. "Don't be afraid." And when they looked up, Moses and Elijah were gone, and they only saw Jesus. As they went back down the mountain, Jesus commanded them, "Don't tell anyone what you have seen until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." Then his disciples asked, "Why do the teachers of religious law insist that Elijah must return before the Messiah comes?" Jesus replied, "Elijah is indeed coming first to get everything ready. But I tell you, Elijah has already came, but he wasn't recognized, and they chose to abuse him. And in the same way, they will also make the Son of Man suffer." Then the disciples realized he was talking about John the Baptist. Jesus took Peter and then James and John, the brothers, up onto the mountain so they could testify and witness about what happened. Jesus also says you need 3 witnesses. Well, for the church, you need 1 witness, 2 witnesses to testify on your behalf. So he has 3 witnesses to testify on his behalf. And after Jesus has done his deed, and rose from the dead, because of James and John and Peter said all these things about what happened before Jesus did that, they'll be recognized as fools and liars, and most likely would have been put to death. But after Jesus rose from the dead and they seen this, then Peter, James, and John could have said what they saw, for then they will believe. And indeed, Elijah came. That's why I feel like most people don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah, because they expect Elijah himself to come out from the dead. But Elijah came in disguise, basically. And when Jesus went up there, Moses and Elijah appeared, spawned right in next to him. And then Jesus turned to his natural form, which is God the Father. And then that caused Peter, James, and John to automatically get down to worship. But then when Jesus came back, he said, "Don't be afraid. Like, you're gonna have to see this, you know." So Jesus heals a demon-possessed boy. At the foot of the mountain, a large crowd was waiting for them. A man came and knelt before Jesus and said, "Lord, have mercy on my son. He has seizures and suffers terribly. He often falls into the fire or into the water. So I brought him to your disciples, but they couldn't heal him." Jesus said, "You faithless and corrupt people, how long must I be with you? How long must I put up with you? Bring the boy here to me." Then Jesus rebuked the demon in the boy, and it left him. From that moment, the boy was well. Afterward, the disciples asked Jesus privately, "Why couldn't we cast out that demon?" "You don't have enough faith," Jesus told them. "I tell you the truth, if you have faith, even as small as a mustard seed, you could say this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it would move. Nothing would be impossible." Jesus wasn't calling the people around him faithless. Well, he was. And he was also calling, the corrupt people he met was the teachers of religious law and the Pharisees. And then Jesus' disciples were like, "Why couldn't we do this? Why couldn't we cast out the boy?" And then Jesus was like, "Because you don't have enough faith. If you have enough faith in something, it will happen." As stated earlier, faith is like the key root of all of this. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, even if you have faith saying, this remote, if it wasn't working, you say, "Work now in the name of Jesus." Or if you're like, "I have faith I'll get a close parking spot. I have faith I will be safe today as I go out to work." If you have faith in little things like that, you will have faith. You have faith in big things. Jesus again predicts his death. After they gathered again in Galilee, Jesus told them, "The Son of Man is going to be betrayed into the hands of his enemies. He will be killed, but on the third day he will be raised from the dead." And the disciples were filled with grief. Of course, they're going to be filled with grief because they don't know what's going to happen yet. Payment of the temple tax. On their arrival in Capernaum, the collectors of the temple tax came to Peter and asked him, "Doesn't your teacher pay the temple tax?" "Yes, he does," Peter replied. Then he went into the house. But before he had the chance to speak, Jesus asked him, "What do you think, Peter? Do kings tax their own people, or the people the people they have conquered?" They tax the people they have conquered. Because why would you tax your own people? You tax the people you have conquered. Peter replied. "Well then," Jesus said, "the citizens are free. However, we don't want to offend them. So go down to the lake and throw in a line. Open the mouth of the first fish you catch, and you will find a large silver coin. Take it and pay the tax for both of us." I think that story right there is very underrated. And very underrated, and it's not recognized as much. It's basically Jesus saying, put up with them and go do this and make them happy. Technically, what he was meaning that those people are free in the name of Jesus because it belongs to them. Those people belong to Jesus. They're free within Jesus. But since the world is like, no, this, that, and doesn't recognize Jesus as Lord, sometimes we have to play into what the world does. But in reality, we are truly free in the name of Jesus. So basically saying right there, even though the people are free, we still have to go under their authority. But soon they would have been freed. Yeah. Yeah, he says, the citizens are free. However, we don't want to offend them. Jesus didn't want to offend those people. Even though the people they were taxing were free. Free with them from sin. They were free from the world. And yet they're still being taxed. So basically what he's saying there, those people are free. They're free from the world. They're free from sin. But the people who are collecting from them, are the people still stuck in the world. But yet Jesus didn't want to offend them because there's a chance that they will be saved and free from the world too, and then they won't tax collect. If you get what I mean, you know. That's basically what it said. New background goes hard. Now I just need posters in the back. I got that one. Spider-Man. Speaking of Spider-Man. That's cool. I'm gonna wear that to Comic-Con. I'm going to Comic-Con. I'm trying to spread the gospel. Maybe take a video if they let me. So yeah, that was Matthew chapter 17. I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out in the name of Jesus.